Hey, it's Chris with Life 180, and I'm here with my business partner and friend, Caleb Williams with Better Wealth Solutions, and the author of The And Asset. And, we get a lot of questions, and I think this is probably the most common comment, question, statement, argument that people like to propose to me in the comments of all my videos is, what's a properly structured life insurance policy look like? A whole life policy specifically look like? And with that said, we've done a long video on illustrating the different ways to properly structure a whole life policy. If you want to watch that in depth, I think it's almost an hour long. There's going to be a link down below in the description. You can look at that. But for this video, what we're going to do is we're going to use a whiteboard and kind of just draw out for you so you can understand on a more simplistic level, right? Like really the value, philosophy. The benefits, the philosophy on why. It's not just what or how or what, but why it's important and the execution of it.
So Chris and I had an interview earlier this morning for my podcast, and you had a quote. You're like, 95% of life insurance agents are idiots.
Yeah, I don't pull punches. I'm sorry.
Right. I actually think it's 98%.
Okay, that's fine.
We can both be in the pool together.
Yeah, sure.
And here's the reality is, most people when they think of life insurance are thinking it from a like, they're not thinking of it from the philosophy.
Right.
So the goal is for you to watch this video, for us to quickly draw on Chris's iPad just the philosophy of what you need to have. Obviously, these numbers, we're gonna actually do more videos today because we've gotten such a huge demand for I want to see what this policy would look like, and we're gonna get technical, but if you just look at the numbers and don't understand the philosophy, that's where you can go astray. And so on the iPad, and this will be fun to do it with you, Chris, because we both use this in a way to explain how overfunding works.
I love it.
I'm gonna do my typical bad drawing.
You're a great artist. I don't know what you're talking about.
This will represent you.
Yep.
And when you're shopping for life insurance, most people are looking at life insurance as a commodity, and as a result are trying to get the cheapest amount of premium or cost for the most amount of death benefit.
Right.
Okay. So let's say in this example you're going to get $1 million worth of life insurance. Now this is a unilateral contract, meaning if you do your end of the bargain, the insurance company's on the hook for that certain period of time to pay you out.
Right.
And there's a minimum that you can pay for that and a maximum. Okay. Now let's not talk about the maximum right now. Let's talk about the minimum. And let's say this individual, if they paid $1,000 a month, okay, they would get access to have $1 million worth of life insurance. Now, if you're watching this,
the death benefit.
Yes. If you're watching this, the $1,000 may be a little too high, but this is just for an example. I don't know how old this person is, and so the first question is, who determines that $1,000? Who determines that you're going to pay $1,000 to have a death benefit of $1 million? Well, it's the insurance company, right? Because they are hedging that risk, and they're working with a lot of people and they're spread the risk out, and they know that some people are going to die during that time, but they know that the majority of people are not going to die during that time, and as a result they're able to still make a profit.
Correct.
Now this life insurance is great if you're just needing insurance to cover just for death benefit. You can work with us, but you could go work with anyone, quite frankly, and it's just a cost. Now there's things that you should know about as far as conversion, as far as other riders go. But at the end of the day, that's not what this video is all about. This is a commodity. Now, there's another question that you can ask is how much could you overpay for that same amount of death benefit?
Sure.
And why would you want to do that?
Yeah, exactly. That's where most people miss it. Is like, why would I want to pay more for it if I don't have to?
Let's say, Chris, you could get $1 million worth of life insurance for $1,000, or I could say, or you could pay $20,000 and get the same amount, $1 million.
Well, I know where you're going, but I think most people think you're crazy.
Yeah, they'd be like, number one, why are we even having this discussion?
Yeah,
I don't even understand. Well, here's the difference. If you overpay, you get what's called living benefits. And in my book, I talk about a lot of these living benefits. Yeah. But you get access to cash that's going to grow tax-free the rest of your life, without losses, without fees, and it's going to grow the rest of your life, but you still have access to that capital to reinvest in things that you care about while it continues to grow. There's creditor protection. There's a lot of other benefits. So you get these living benefits, but then the next question is, who determines the max? Well, you know this, and I do know this, but it's the government. You don't determine it. It's the government determines it. And whenever the government limits something, what does that usually mean?
It's a good thing.
It usually means there's some benefit that they're foregoing.
Right.
And for this, it would be taxes. And one of the common questions that we ask people that we get to serve is, are taxes going to go up or down?
Right.
And we don't know, but if you look at where our country's at, it's pretty clear that taxes are going to go up.
22 trillion in debt. I mean, they're going to have to get that revenue somewhere, right?
And by the time we put this out on YouTube, it's going to be higher.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, exactly. It's going up and up.
But the reality is this: our philosophy is, if we're going to use life insurance as the and asset, and we're going to overfund it properly, we need to drive down this death benefit as small as possible, and we need to drive up the living benefit as much as possible, and get this thing right to the level where it's being super efficient.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, we could go into the weeds, and we will have more videos as it relates to numbers. When we were thinking about life insurance, when we were thinking about overfunding, we want to make sure that the money that we're putting in, if we're using for the cash, that we're getting this death benefit, which is not a fee, by the way. It's a fixed cost that is ultimately going to pay out because it's a permanent death benefit.
Right.
So it's not even a frivolous fee that's going to leave. Like, it's actually a fixed cost that's going to serve you.
Yeah.
But most importantly, most of that money will go towards the living benefits, which is going to serve you immediately because it's cash and it's not just going to grow, but you can control it.
It's amazing.
So
I mean, that's where it's at. So here's my call to action for you. If this kind of makes sense to you, or you're intrigued by it, is Caleb's written an amazing book called The And Asset. And there's going to be a link below. It'll take you to a page. You can set up a strategy call, to either talk to one of Caleb's people on his team. They are not an agent. They're not going to try to sell you anything. They're not paid commissions or anything. They literally are there just to serve you, right?
Yep.
And so the gift is, if you do that call, you're also going to leave with a free book. He's going to send you a free copy of The And Asset. And I'll tell you what, it's 105 pages long. And if you read this book, it will change your life. It'll change the way that you view your personal finances. It'll change the way you structure your financial life. And you're going to wind up feeling like what took me so long to find this information. That's what I can promise you. Right. And I'll call me. If that's not the feeling that you get, feel free to call me and yell at me. I'm okay with that. Yeah, exactly. The other thing with that, if you want to do more research, they've created this great software. It's called a one-page report that will say, okay, what does this life insurance idea look like for me? It'll tell you what your liquidity looks like, because that's a big negative outcry by the pundits out there that are against this strategy. Is like, why would you give up liquidity of your money versus keep it in a bank? Well, this software will actually show you what your liquidity looks like, year 1, year 5, year 10, year 20. It'll tell you what your cash flow looks like, all the benefits that come with it, all the living benefit riders, all these different things that come with having a properly structured policy, and all the amazingness that comes with that. It's in there. So go ahead and click the link below. Make sure you also subscribe to the channel, click the bell, make sure you get notified. We're creating a ton of content. We're going to be having a lot of videos coming out with the goal of serving you and helping you. And if you find this video valuable, I promise you the content that we're going to be releasing here coming up in the future is going to be just as impactful for you. So go ahead, click the link below. Hopefully you have the chance to set up a time with one of his people, and we'll see you on the next video.